action.
And there we go.
Oh my goodness, dude. I don't even know where you want to start, but yeah, this podcast thing is new, obviously. Hence the bare bones setup, but
I like all the decorations, all the Chicago deck, and I was telling you before, I love the drunk dinosaur.
That's
my favorite.
I think Birdie drew that. My cousin might have made that when she was younger, but yeah, this is where we have all the family parties. Obviously, lots of liquor bottles, lots of drunkenness. But the Chicago sports memorabilia, it's like, yeah, it's very South Side, you know, like, it's where I'm from, baby. We're in Sleepy Hollow, small neighborhood next to Garfield Ridge, in between Archer Heights. We just call it Midway.
Just the Midway zone, you know?
Yep. But, yeah, dude, we've had 2 films together. I guess to formally introduce Adam Rebora. Am I saying that right?
Yes, you are. Adam Rebora. Glad to be here.
Yeah, of course. We did, I did my first feature film, the biggest project I did, the first big project I did, Goons, Guns, and the Gumshoe, where we met. We were the scene partners. We were the goons. We were
a 2 guys on a heist squad, but we were also a comedy duo on as our side gig. So these were our 2. We were like, oh yeah, we're doing crimes on the side.
Yeah, we're actors, like freelance actors, and also kind of shady, do anything for money kind of a thing.
That was my favorite because my character was at sometimes a clown, like an actual clown, and I had to do clown makeup, and it was like the best clown makeup ever.
It was. You were hilarious just looking at you after the makeup was put on.
I was laughing though that it took like about an hour to get on, and I would just fall asleep fully in the chair, which was funny because my character was also narcoleptic. He was a narcoleptic clown who does crimes.
That's right.
But I literally was just chilling in this. It was like the most relaxing thing. She's like brushing my face, and I'm like.
You were getting into character at the same time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you know, that was. I missed the premiere of that. I was snowed in Vegas.
Oh, what?
Remember, it was like big snowstorms in January.
Oh my gosh.
Did you go to the premiere?
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, a lot of people came. I know I've been in a couple of Jim Menz's movies, and
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he often does a premiere over at the Davis Theater here, and which is great because my old apartment used to be like walking distance from there, and so I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is amazing. Everyone's coming in from out of town.
Yeah, you invite all your friends and their family and everybody.
Yeah, I had some. My cousin came, my girlfriend came. My parents normally come. They had to miss that one. They were also out of town, but it was super fun. It was a pretty packed house. And
absolutely. And that film is going on a festival run right now. We were at production on that, like July, August of last year?
I think it was pretty late. Yeah, I think it was like August, late August, early September or something.
Because then he premiered it in January, and then I think from there, all year it's been going on these festival runs. What did it win so far? I saw the trophy, Crown Point International Film Festival.
I'm not even
for
sure.
Best Comedy.
I know it's been a bunch of stuff. It's hard to keep track of for my brain.
Right. I mean, yeah, I don't know much about the film festivals quite yet, but like, you know, it's been everywhere from Maryland, Jacksonville, Italy, Paris, Ventura, California. I mean, he's got his plan with all that.
Yeah. No, it's super cool. It's super fun to. I know I've gone before and seen a few of them at the fest.
Oh, nice.
I think I saw his previous one to that was called You and What Army, and saw that.
Because you were in that one, right?
Yeah, and it was playing. I was in Louisville for work, and it was playing over at like the Muhammad Ali Center there, and it was like awesome. Except then it kind of sucked. the film fest. It was like we walked in. It was like all these people, and we're like, oh. And then there's like these big massive rooms of people, and we're like, whoa! And then we go into ours, and it was like a classroom, and like the lights were still on, and they came in to count ballots later, and we're like, what? We're trying to watch a movie here. What's that? What? Come on!
Show some respect.
Like, come on, hey!
Come on! Wow. There's and there's probably some local ones he's done here too. I mean, it's great exposure, but yeah, one of the things I know we talked a little bit on set, offset, and stuff like that. But like, how did you first get involved with Jim and Milk Nose Productions? And then maybe talk a little bit about like your acting history. I know you've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, so I've been acting for a long time. Basically, since I was a kid, I got like into a middle school play. When I wasn't a middle schooler, I was like 4th grade. And my music teacher's like, "You're in, kid." I just was like, "Oh my gosh!" I felt
this kid's
so
got
cool.
talent.
Yeah.
It's like a freshman playing on varsity, right?
Pretty much is how I felt, even though I was like a 4th grader with like the part of a little kid. And I was like, yeah!
That's awesome.
But I really got hooked and started doing like improv and like training at Second City. And then my parents at some point got me a video camera, and I started, it was like still in that like early YouTube phase, where it was like all like just people doing sketch videos and like early Smosh and like Ryan
E-Bombs World.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm doing that. So I got to like start learning camera stuff just by like doing it, and just like it would be how I hung out with my friends, where it'd be like, yo, you want to come over and we'll just make something? And it's like, cool. And I'd find whatever props I had around the house, or if I had a location, or where I was going to someone else's house, I'm like, all right, this is what's happening. And we just make like a funny short film, and they're out there on YouTube.
Dude,
embarrassingly.
well, you gotta fish them up, and I'll throw the links so people can watch it, because that's kind of how I did it too. Like, you know, I had Jeffrey, my old coworker when we worked at McNeil Hospital. He kind of got me thinking about acting in any way to begin with, and we did a bunch of short films. Worked at McNeil Hospital, and you know, just like started messing around in there. But it definitely died short after that. And 10 years later, I'm like, wow, I should have been doing this 15 years ago.
It's fun. It's you get the bug going, and it's like I started doing like theater, and then moved into again, still like doing the video acting
school for fun on the side.
Yeah, and I was like doing it for fun, and then you know, always doing improv going. But then I think like near the end of my college experience, I was like, oh, I'd like to do it more like the film acting side, like more professionally.
You want to be in movies?
Yeah, you know, I'm a sucker for movies. I love like. My grandma and I would always watch like old movies, and then like we'd like rent them and get like the behind the scenes stuff with them, and it's like it's always been my like I love the behind the scenes stuff, especially like older films. Like right now, there's a lot less of it because it's like, well, we put them in front of a green screen. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
cool. While back in the day, it's just like, all right, we got like rubber shark going, like how do we have no idea what we're doing, we're inventing stuff on the scene, and you're like, oh, that's insane. Like,
you're blending creativity more, you know, in real time.
Because there's stuff in like super old movies that just like blow my mind, where I'm just like, how did you? And it's really funny because now that I'm like, we're in this world of like, oh, every movie has like a dragon fight and all that stuff, and then I'll watch like a movie with like, I don't know, like 100 people dancing or something, and I'm like, how did they get those people? That's out of budget. That makes no sense. And it's so simple. Or like, I saw like one like 40s movie that had like, it was something like the Island of Elephants or something like that, and it was like a whole plot on this island, and like the, you know, rich guys moved in, built a mansion there, and at the end, just a stampede of elephants comes through and just blows through the whole set.
Oh my god!
And I was like, oh, that's just real. That's just, they just built a set and had elephants stampede through. That's insane. Like,
dude, it's about to get scary what they're going to be able to start doing, because it's going to cost not a lot with, I mean, AI. I mean, I don't like bringing up that rabbit hole because that's just the doom of us all. But you know, especially for creators, artists, whatever, we'll stay away from that.
It's a thing. It's a thing. I don't know how it like. I guess my one thing with AI, I think it's useful as tools. I think it's not useful as like replacing people.
Yeah.
But I think it's like, you know, if you're editing in Photoshop and it can help find the person more because it can learn that, that's cool. Or
there's
like
a fine line.
Things.
You know, there's a fine line of where I think it's okay to use, and then it's like, you know.
But I always stand by like that. I think people can tell when stuff's AI, like when it's AI scripts or AI art or AI like like Marvel got chewed out for like putting it in posters and stuff and intros and.
Well, you have to start disclosing that now. I think, like even on Instagram, it says like, was this made with AI or
But I think that in the art world, it will be okay outside of like, maybe some people are doing it for like posters and stealing, out of what would go to artists and stuff.
Yeah.
But I do think that like people as a whole see stuff and they're like, that's not by a human. I don't like that. The human touch is the reason you do it versus like, it's kind of like why you like a painting by an artist and why it's worth so much, but then if it was like a print, you'd be like, oh, that's the same image.
Or an NFT.
But, yeah.
You see what I mean? No. But, and I think people will always pay more and go out of their way to experience something that is made by a human versus...
I sure hope so.
Yeah, you can only hope. Damn. So, yeah, the acting you've been doing a long time.
Yeah, so
not to go off track.
Going back to it. I got out of college. I did like some short films at the end of college and started like making more stuff with my friends and like.
Where'd you go to school again?
I went to Illinois State and I went for marketing.
ISU, baby. I almost went there.
Good Redbirds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so I went there. I was on their improv team, the Improv Mafia, which was wonderful, and it kind of like reconnected me back to all my like theater stuff that I really liked to do prior. But I got out of college and was just like, all right, I want to go for this. And I was working a day job, and then just like running out every day and like finding auditions and like figuring it out and like like running during my lunch break and I'll be like, I'll be right back, and then just like going doing a quick audition and coming back.
Dude,
to work.
So it was like almost like interning kind of, but getting like the real world experience of what it would be like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So it was an exciting time. But at some point, I found one of Jim's films. The first one I was a part of called Too Bad. And it was about these like fallen angels coming down. And
really?
Yeah.
This is really interesting. Side note, I've noticed this in Kick the Can, which did you guys just wrap that?
Yeah, we just literally yesterday shot some pickup shots. So I think it's outside of like one extra shot he's doing.
I saw Kevin's post with it.
Yeah, chilling. It was we had to meet up very early in the morning out in the burbs, and I was like, all right. So it was like up at 5:30 in the morning, just like out there to like lay in the grass and be unconscious. It was like, we need that shot.
Why are you always laying in the grass?
I don't know.
Shots.
I find bugs in my hair all the time.
No, but I noticed in that one, and then there's a scene in Goons. He has like a reference, like a biblical reference, like to Jesus or to Christianity or something like that. Is that? Have you seen that in this film as well?
He normally sneaks one into each film or like some kind of discussion.
Had you noticed that before? Or?
Yeah, I've definitely. Because the first one especially was like very biblical and like these angels, so it was
Fallen
like
angels.
Of course. And then like I started noticing like in Goons, there's the guy who comes to the door as the preacher, and then.
That was the part I got offered first, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then Shane fell out and he replugged me there, but...
It worked out.
Yeah, I'll have to get Jim on here because I want to ask him about that. That's really interesting. But Fallen Angels, that was the first one. That was where you first linked up with him?
Yeah, and then I've just been... I've done a lot of work with him ever since, and then I've done like... Did some like video marketing jobs that I've worked in, because then I also know how to do camera stuff. And audio stuff as we
as we were learning,
as we were figuring out.
It took about 45 minutes to get this going, just so everyone knows.
But it no, because I've been then outside of, so I've been doing about a lot of acting for a while, running all over the place, figuring out the acting world, and then also trying to make my own stuff.
Which is crucial, I mean, for anybody.
Yeah, and so that is honestly, it's so much fun. It's so much work, and it might be for naught, like where you
can't do it for any other reason that you love it,
Yeah, no, I think someone told me like when you go into the arts, if you can do something else, do it. If you truly can't,
if you could do it for fun, start there.
Yeah. But I've been making films with a lot of my friends for a while, and you really go through. There's just like so much into it, like and you never think about it until you do, and like I always learn best by doing it. But you learn like more about acting. You learn more about like the fundamentals of producing. Like how do you get people even on an indie thing? How do you figure out lighting? How do you schedules, crafty, like all those things that you don't necessarily think about. And then the post world is.
I'm learning. I'm right there.
But me and my friend Miles Strong Austin did a. We have long time been buddies and long time been like movie aficionados where we just like go to the movies and like talk outside for like an hour about like that was crazy or like what the hell was that? And we were like, we're both interested in film. We both like acting and figuring stuff out. Let's make our own film. And we did a short called Doors, where a kid throws a party and a bunch of doors come to life and eat people.
Dude.
And we did that like in 2019 we filmed it and like finished it. I want to say like the first month of the pandemic or something. It was like in 2020 we were like, all right, it's out there. And so it had like one premiere right before COVID hit, where we got to like have it in front of an audience on a rough cut.
Damn.
And it was super fun. But now since then, have made a bunch of projects since with like my friends, and each one like there's every time you're like, oh, I wish I could have fixed that, but you're like, that's because I grew and learned from the process.
You get exponentially better, right? Like that's very much how I've learned how to do anything. You asked me about like the astrophotography. I bought gear that sat for 2 years before I even knew how to, even use it. But like same thing with acting. It's like just trial by error, just jump in and go and do it. Even just like this podcast thing, I'm just trying to give it some legs, and you gotta crawl before you can run. But it's like exponential. Like once you do more of something, you get better and better and better at it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's so. I ended up with Miles and some of my other friends. My friend Teresa Moore was working on her own short at the time, and then like Miles and I went on to help her with that.
That's awesome.
And then she had some other friends that she'd done other work with who came on, and we're all just kind of like sitting there like what do we do with all these films? Like, and it was like, what if we decided to put it all under one roof, and made a film collective that we've been like rocking now for a while, called Urban Pebble Productions.
Yeah.
So you could check out Urban Pebble on YouTube or on Urban Pebble on Instagram. Can link you to everything.
Yeah.
But it's been like a cool production house, but that's where like a bunch of my work now has gone. But the coolest part of that is it's like created this community that's making a bunch of like films and connecting people, but then I've been on like all these sets now in various different things, and like when we're talking about like exponentially getting better, if you could just get on sets, you just like, even if you're like not a main actor or even just like helping out, like that has been one of my favorite things, because you're like, oh, I helped out with the casting on this, now I know why people like don't get called back, and it's not even because they're bad, it's like because the aging or the difference there. And then like just like learning lighting, learning camera, they're running into this problem on this, and you're like, oh, now I know. In the future I would have never thought about that. Like,
100%. And it's and especially if you're just a bystander, like if you're just holding a boom mic or something like that, you're not focused on the character or the scene or the director, focused on everything. You can kind of like pick apart everything and take it in as it comes, as you're learning.
Yeah, as long as you record the audio.
Yeah, as long as you record. Hold on, are we recording? It just spiked. I think it's because we're talking loud.
Yes, we finally got those levels up.
Oh man, no, this is gonna get better. Like I said, I don't expect this to be your first and only time on here. But yeah, in terms of like the collective, that was kind of my whole motivation for this. Is like anytime I do a film or a project, let's get the actors on, let's get the director on, let's promote the project, talk about everything else we got going on, and like cultivate the community a little bit more.
I love that you're doing that, and that you said that too, like, because I know you pitched this to me on while we're on set shooting.
Yep.
Kick the Can, which is Jim's next film, which I got to see a little cut of yesterday too, or like the first chunk of it, and it's very fun.
Oh, I'm excited. Hopefully, I won't be stuck somewhere so I can make the premiere for that.
Come on, that's like one of my favorite parts about the Chicago scene, just in terms of like arts and creativity and acting and all that, is it's a lot. I think because all the money is basically in New York and LA, unfortunately. It's created like this sense of community though, because everyone's trying to figure it out, and everyone's working together, and they're like very open to sharing secrets and like helping each other out, where I've heard like horror stories of other people cutting each other down in other places, and you're like,
it's so competitive or cutthroat, and nobody wants to be friends. I bet.
So I think it's a really unique thing that like this podcast is amazing for, that it's like you can capture some of that, like, connectivity, and like create and uplift each other, because then someone else is also going to be on set and be like, I know the perfect person who's a real cool person.
Bingo, man, bingo. I'm only 2 years into like establishing myself as a professional actor, or just someone in film, and I've already seen overlap with like people I've worked with already, you know what I mean? And then even just like this, Kick the Can being just a referral from already working with Jim, it's a really cool thing. And I don't think anybody grows or gets better by trying to like cut someone else down or try to compete. It's especially when it comes to art, man. That it's so collaborative.
Yeah, and especially film in general. Like I always think like like a painter can grab a paintbrush and a canvas and go at it, and have a painting done. But like film, you need other people,
100%.
Unless you're like Bo Burnham.
You need a couple of skills there.
Really
musical.
Yeah, but you need like all this, like you need film equipment and actors and direct, and it's all working together. And if you can have super cool people that you've worked with before, that is such a plus. If you know they're talented, and if everyone works together, I've seen sets that are like a slog to get through because everyone's jerks or like just in it for a paycheck or whatever it is, which happens. But then there's a total different set that like when the set has the energy and everyone's excited about the project or just excited to work together despite the project, like it's like a super it just makes a huge difference on how the film runs, how the set runs.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
It's like like we're cracking jokes, having fun on set, and it's like that chemistry is so huge because it shows in the performance. That's truly when magic happens, I think. When it's just so cohesive, it's flowing, everyone's having a good time. And this is something I think about too, is because I still think I want to work towards becoming like a working actor, but I love this independent scene already so much. Like I don't care if I never get paid for it because of how awesome the people
nice,
are.
though.
It would be nice. I mean, it would be nice. But being able to lend your creativity, even just as an actor or somebody else, is like, it just makes for the best art.
Yeah.
How's your experience been? Like, cause you have representation, right? With who again? Or I don't know if you mind sharing.
I'm with Big Mouth Talent.
Nice.
My agency.
What I guess my curiosity, what is like some of the key differences between like the independent film stuff and maybe like a gig you get through them?
It totally ranges. There's a lot of overlap, and sometimes there's been some projects I've been on that are like very businessy, right? Where it's like, this is a business, come in, do your thing, you can go now, and there's no like the director's in his world doing the other stuff, and it's not as,
it's very disconnected, it sounds like.
Versus like and that's not all the time, that's just on occasion. I've been on some of those sets and they exist, and then there's some that are just like the director, this is their passion project, and they're like, everything is like, they're like, please like help out or like or be a part, and like sometimes it's like, just come on, do your acting thing, this is so cool, and they have like all these ideas and stuff. And then sometimes it's lost my train of thought.
No, it's
but
all
the but sometimes it's like I've been on a lot of, especially like super indie sets, where they even are like, can you just help out? Like, you want to like come chill around, grab a camera, grab a
yeah,
you know, like whatever you can do, appreciate it. And
that's cool.
And it totally depends on the vibes. You know, that's not the case on more professional sets, but like,
yeah,
it's kind of whatever we can do to make sure a film happens. And
yeah, so it sounds like it pretty much varies based on the project, obviously, like who's in charge of it and everything like that. But have you ever had any instances or experiences where the director or the project was so like stringent that it almost made it uncomfortable for you, or anything you wanted to like walk off of from the experience? Hopefully not.
No, thankfully I've not. There's been nothing that like jumps out to mind right now that's like a big thing. I've been very
good.
thankful.
That's good.
Yeah, like no crazy sets. No, there's like certainly been stressful times, or like you know, the life of an actor is the life of sitting around, because you will
hurry up and wait.
Yeah, pretty much, where it's like, we need you right now, and now go, and we'll talk to you in like, I don't know, when we get to you in like 2 hours. And so it's like, it's a very, you know, at some point you're like, oh, I wish they scheduled this better. But at some point that's just part of the job, and it's all good. But really thankful that I have not had any like crazy, you know, angry directors or been scammed or anything like that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, sometimes you never know what you're walking into, especially if you book something yourself off backstage.
Yeah. Well, that was, I told Jim was pretty funny, was I was going back through my emails just to like delete through stuff, because my, you know, Google Drive was filling up, and I had found an invite from him from the year prior to when I did Too Bad.
Oh.
That it just the wording, I was like, what? I got an invite from him? No way, to audition for his previous film. And I was like, no. And I looked
into it. And you didn't know him at that time yet?
No,
right?
I didn't. Yeah.
But did you recognize his name or anything like that?
No. Like like only when going back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I found it, and it was typed so like in a way that I was like, oh, I totally read this, and like. And then I even compared it to like the next year's email, and it was just like night and day, where it was just like a real quick thing, and then like versus like a in-depth detail. And
he got more professional. He got a little bit more professional.
Because I was like, oh, nope. That's because you never know what you're gonna get, and it's kind of funny because I would have been a part of it.
Yeah,
sooner,
dude.
But the you never know what you're gonna get, because you get like these emails and they're like, show up to this address and we'll go, and normally you're like, am I going into someone's house that they're like filming and can't wake their parents, or like, am I about to walk into like a whole movie set? And
yeah,
you never
got your
know.
Concealed carry, because you never know sometimes.
You gotta be ready.
Hey,
I can act like I got it.
Here's this timer. We'll do another recording, and
sweet.
The cap's at an hour. Does it sound good?
Yeah.
I know that'll go all day. Rolling. All right, we're back.
We're back.
No, that's quite the experience, man. With Milk Nose and the way I found out about Goons, Guns, and the Gumshoe, I just like everything I found through backstage, and I hit up my acting coach at the time. Shout out Lorden. I was like, hey, what do you think of this? He's like, oh no, it looks real legit. He's like, the script looks. He's like, yeah, dude, go for this. And it turns out that he's like, he called me a couple days later. He's like, yeah, I think one of my other students is on this, and it ended up being Margaret.
Oh.
Yeah. So
yes.
So she mutual acting coach, which just small world, you know. And then seeing her on Kick the Can as well, more of like a operational role. I know she's writing her own script, got her own projects going on, but
yeah, I think she shoots
community, man. That's what it's about.
It's so cool. No, just how it all interweaves or connects. Yeah, how have you been enjoying your? So you said you're 2 years in now on like. Official?
Yeah, I guess official, like from the point where I said I'm gonna take this seriously and like really give it a honest, effort, run at it. and I just wrapped the Before Dallas, the Bobby Kennedy role.
Yes. Oh, I was so excited about that.
Yeah, man. I'll keep you posted on like premiere and stuff like that.
Yeah, you had the accent nailed down.
Your
too.
country really appreciates you, J. Edgar Hoover.
I felt cool because I watched like HBO put out like a Kennedy's documentary right before.
Yeah, dude.
And then it was like the next day you're like, yeah, I'm Bobby Kennedy. I was like, well, I know about him.
Yeah, man, dude. That was like, I mean, for me, like the timing of that. So I got offered this role about last year. October, November last year. And I started right away just like diving into the character, watching a bunch of speeches. Ironically, Netflix dropped RFK for president, or Bobby Kennedy for president, as like a 4-episode docu series or whatever. I was like, oh, well, how convenient! I can watch this. I can continue doing the speeches, practice the accent, and I did a couple like student films. The first half of the year, Kick the Can, also another project, and then we just wrapped this now. Admittedly, I kind of took a break from like pursuing things just to kind of focus on this, but now that that's wrapped, I got a ton of podcast guests I want to catch up on, and now I definitely am ready to get back on the acting grind and get out there, and I want to try and establish myself a little bit more professionally, because I think I got to start pursuing like agency and representation.
Yeah, definitely. It's an exciting world out there.
Any pointers? Any advice?
Throw your get your resume together, get your headshot. There's also like a specific dimension for that.
Oh, really?
That's a fun fact. If anyone's looking to,
please share.
Because no one tells you any of this, and you just learn by being called an idiot along the way. And but there is like I might be like 8x10 is the specific thing for headshots.
Okay.
And if you go to like a professional headshot printer, they'll have the layout.
They'll know. It's like a template. Headshot template is probably 8x10.
Don't quote me. I think it's like 8x10. But then the other part is you want your resume to be the same size.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you're supposed to. How I was told, at least, was you're supposed to have them both the same size and like essentially staple the resume to the back of the headshot, so it's always together. Because otherwise, they were saying like if you give them like a regular printed out resume, it won't fit with the rest of the pile. They just throw you out.
That makes sense. I'm just picturing like a manila folder. You want them all to fit congruently in.
Yeah. So straight up, it's just like, but a weird thing that no one ever tells you, and then you're like, oh, I've been doing it wrong, and they're like, yeah.
I just hope they don't look at my stuff and be like, wow, this guy's really good.
It matters a lot.
Oh my god, this guy sucks. Look, he's not organized.
He doesn't know how to print anything.
He doesn't know what 8x10 means.
Luckily, you don't have to do it too much anymore now that it's mostly digital.
Digital, yeah.
But send it out to people. Send out your resume, your headshot, and normally like
a reel, right?
Yeah, put together a reel, and just reach out and be like, hey, look, this is what I do. It's always a good time to check in too after you've done something. So if you're like, hey, I just
follow up. Yeah,
like, hey, I was just in this movie. Just
Did
shot,
you see
and
it?
I'm actually. You watched it yet? But like, is like a good a good way to reach out. Do you know who I am? Sign me.
I'm a star. I'm a bright and shining star.
But also to give them like some kind of flavor of like yo, I'm this. My acting style is like, I was told that
a slate. They call it a slate, right?
No. This is like a cover letter that they'll normally ask for, and I was told to put in like just as like think of it like business, less about like I'm a hard worker, which is normally how I would write my stuff before. I'm like, oh, I really
like a cover letter, like that to a job.
But it's more like right. Hey, I just finished doing a feature. My acting style is like, whatever actor that you like that you think has a similar style to you, who's successful. And I have a comedy style of like someone else who's like a successful person.
My Uncle Vito would say my style is Mark Wahlberg. He's like, I don't know why, but everything you do reminds me of Mark Wahlberg. I'm like, I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah, and you can say like even like I have the looks of this, just like anything that they're like, oh, that's an easy sell is like this guy looks like Mark Wahlberg and acts like Daniel Day-Lewis
and can play Bobby Kennedy. Yeah,
but it's,
or whatever. Yeah,
it was like it's almost like just take out that like inner thought of.
So it's less formal and it's more descriptive and descriptive of like your style then, right?
Yeah, just to you're selling yourself.
Yeah, not necessarily. I mean, some personal flair, I'm sure, but yeah.
Yeah.
Good tips, because I need them. I'm sure other people are going to need them too.
Hopefully that helps.
Yeah. If not, like you, I'm starting to. I want to focus on my own writing as well. Now you do the improv theater still, or what is the show that you do?
Yeah, so I'm on a super cool improv group called Part Dog.
That's right.
And we have the Part Dog show is the last Saturday of every month at the Bug House Theater. It's like right off the Irving Park Brown line in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
But it's super fun. We do like a 45-minute set that like tells a whole story. We've been doing this team has been together for years.
Really?
It's had many iterations, and but it's so much fun. Now we're all like in each other's heads, and we'll do the same jokes at the same time. And
you guys are like on the same. You guys are almost telepathic at this
pretty
point,
much.
right?
Yeah, we're like, oh, I know how this goes. No, it's so fun. It's my favorite improv show in town.
Hey,
come check it out.
No, I will. I for sure will. You said you do it. Is it certain days of the week, or just you announce the shows?
It is always the last Saturday of the month at 7:30 at the Bug House Theater.
Bug House Theater.
It is we have Part Dog Theater, I think. Oh gosh, maybe it's Part Dog Show. I should have checked my handles. I think it's Part Dog Show on Instagram and stuff. We normally post posters and stuff there. And one of my favorites is Garrett on the team will put together memes after every show that you can only get if you went to the show. So if you see them, they make no sense unless you're at the show and you're like, oh, I get that reference. Like,
that's
awesome.
It's a thing. It's an Easter egg.
Yeah, it confuses. One of my buddies gets so confused by it all of the time because he thinks it's like a sub reference that he's not getting, and he's like, what is this a reference to? I don't. And then he's like, oh my gosh, it's the Part Dog Show again. No,
because it's weaved into probably just regular memes you're gonna send anyway, right?
Yeah. It's like mixed in. And he's
that's
like, no,
awesome.
I fell
that's
for
awesome,
it,
dude. Yeah, so if you don't want jokes flying over your head, go to the Part Dog Show.
Come on down, huh?
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, as far as like, so you're wrapped with Kick the Can. What else you got coming up?
A good number of things, which is exciting.
Do tell. I'm interested.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to show you what the one thing is, but I'm about to act in a horror film coming up that's going to be super fun. It's got a very unique twist to it. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, so but maybe next time I'm on, I could tell you about it.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited. I'm a sucker for horror films.
Really? You honestly don't strike me as the horror film kind of guy.
Yeah, but it's just so fun. You know what it is I avoided horror films for like the longest time.
Really?
I couldn't handle them, and then my friend started making me watch them, and he gave me like all the classics because I'd seen nothing, and he's like, all right, we're starting like Halloween, here we go. And,
oh yeah, that's a classic.
And then I've gotten so into it, and there's a mix of the films are often good. They're often very independent. It's a very good genre to hop into because the bar's low for horror. Like in terms of like, you don't need name brand actors. You don't need, as long as it scares you or has blood in it, is good.
Yeah.
But then I've gotten into like how it interacts with like indie film as a whole, and then how the fan bases love it are so fascinating. I've now been to like horror cons and like
really,
it's so cool, and it's like some of these films are crap, and they have the biggest horror followings, like, or big fan followings, and people are making merch and T-shirts and
for sure.
And some of the films are okay, some of them are bad, some of them are great. But like I love like the love for it, and it all feels it's super fun.
Again, community.
Yeah, so the horror community rides hard. It's super fun. But I'll say also so. Some of the biggest stuff I've been doing is through that collective. So again, check out Urban Pebble on YouTube.
Urban Pebble, yeah.
Or on Instagram. But I have I just was the DP for also a horror film. It was like a horror comedy, essentially about like it was like a queer Friday the 13th ish on the Bone Grinder.
I think you're. Yeah, wait, say it again.
It's called The Bone Grinder.
The Bone Grinder. I think you were telling me this on set for Kick the Can.
It's super fun. We filmed it at this haunted house, and it's about guys who like you go on Grindr, you match with this guy.
That's right.
He sleeps with you. And then in a week he comes and murders you with a chainsaw. But the twist is he's really good, so it's kind of like,
is it worth the death? It's worth the death.
It's pretty. So it's super fun.
Oh crap!
I was just a part of this other one called Left Brain, Right Brain, or Left Brain versus Right Brain, where we were like, it was kind of like Inside Out, but like a guy going to a 420 party.
Oh, nice.
And so it's just his brain, and I was one of the brain people. So I'm like inside like the control room, and my buddy Daniel Mashburn and I built this control room out of like we found like old bed frames and garbage and spray painted it with like metal spray paint and added buttons and stuff and made it look like this like actual cool control panel. So a lot of that, and then I'm currently finishing up my I made a feature film that I wrote it during COVID, and we filmed it in 2020, and then it's been the longest post process ever, and my goal, and hopefully this keeps me honest, I'm trying to get it done by the end of the year. It's just been like a super long process, but I literally was working on stuff and props for it earlier today.
Yeah.
Finishing last touches.
That's awesome. That's the passion project you were talking about. That is like your baby.
Yeah, that one's it's such an interesting relationship, because it's one of those like I was like, I'm gonna do this. We have the time. We're in lockdown and nothing's going on. Let's make this thing. My friend Teresa, who I mentioned earlier, was like I'd started as like a short story. She's like, make it longer. And
nice.
I was like, all right.
See, and that's great to have those people to bounce things off of because you know you might have limited yourself.
Yeah, because I might have been like, I don't know, and so I know her support and a lot of my other friends were just like, yeah, let's go, and like everyone came on board and donated time and effort, and it's super silly. There's always the parts of it where I'm like, oh, I'm better at that now, but I'm only better at it because I did it that time. So I don't know, I'm excited. It's super sweet. It's like it's called Margaret and the Alien, and it's about a woman who her son just left for college. She's all alone now, and an alien crash lands in her backyard. She like befriends it and takes it in as like her new son.
Oh my gosh!
And so it's super campy, super silly.
Yeah.
So the performances are so wonderful. So I'm like, now it's just up to me to make it worth everyone's time. Where like they put in all the effort, and I'm like, all right, gotta edit it great and make it good, and make everyone laugh and get good music.
They're calling you, okay? When's this coming out? Can I see it yet?
Yeah. So I'm really hoping to have that soon. It's really turning out, and I'm just so excited for it. But we'll see what happens. But yeah. Again, all of that stuff though has been through that collective, so that's where all my new stuff's gonna be popping up.
Amazing. And where's the best place to catch all of the content for the collective? It's gonna be on the YouTube.
Yeah, check out the YouTube, which is just Urban Pebble, or Urban Pebble Productions is like the full thing, but and then Instagram is just at Urban Pebble. We post all the time fun little like behind the scenes videos and stuff, but we have like a bunch of stuff on the way. It's like the group is really growing, and there's like a bunch of crazy projects in post that I'm so excited about. So
that's awesome.
Should be a lot coming pretty soon.
Yeah, all the hard part's done. Now you just got to put it out, man.
Yep.
Now it's on record.
Darn it!
It's time
delete this section.
It's time to unleash the beast. Release the beast. No, that's exciting. Yeah, again, I think it's great, the community aspect of it. I'd love to get involved with the group too.
Yeah.
So many people, I'm sure I'd love to.
For sure, get you involved.
Yeah. We'll do more of these, and more films to come.
Yeah, well, you got anything lined up right now?
No, it's like I just wrapped that project. I've just been doing so many other things that now I'm like I need to get back on the horse.
Get the podcast going.
More podcasts. For sure.
I think I was listening to the other episodes, and you're like, just wrap this Goons Guns.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is like a time capsule.
I was plugging it. Oh yeah. Absolutely. We'll look back on this.
Now we're like a whole film later.
Dude, I mean, well, a lot can change in a year. I might actually have a full setup. I might actually have a studio by then.
I like this though.
Yeah, I don't want to get away from this. I need to get more cameras because they can't see the Cubs neon sign. Can't see Walter Payton over here.
And most importantly, the drunk dinosaur.
The drunk dinosaur, guys. All right, I'll have to plug that in later for that. No, this is great. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
You want to wrap it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, that's Adam Rebora, everyone. One more time for your socials and your projects that can be found.
Yeah, if the best place to check out all my stuff is going to be at Urban Pebble on Instagram or Urban Pebble on YouTube. Go watch Doors, my first film ever, is on there. And a bunch more by myself and a bunch of other really talented people. It's the place to be. And check out Part Dog, the Part Dog Show. It's awesome.
Every last
Saturday of the month at the Bug House Theater, 7:30. You'd find more info and fun memes.
On don't get lost in the memes
at the Part Dog Show.
That's awesome, dude. Well, thanks for being your first podcast.
Thanks for this is my first one, so I'm.
We'll do more.
Hope it good.
I think it's good. We'll see. Only I can mess it up in post.
It's on you.
And now it's on me. So awesome. Cut. That's awesome, man.
That was great.